What is the current condition of your wireless network? Well, stick around because we're talking wireless assessment tools in this episode.
You're watching IT Pro TV.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. And CySA Plus again. Yep, topic of the day. That's going to be wireless assessment tools. And there's quite a few utilities we're going to talk about. So, Dan, help me out with the first one on the list, and that's Reaver.
Reaver is a lovely little tool that you might want to be aware of for the CySA Plus exam, because specifically, they call it out. So that does help us with knowing what that is. Now, Wes and I were actually kind of discussing the Reaver thing here before, and he was like, what? Actually, I won't steal your thunder. Wes, what was it you were saying?
Well, it's just about the WPS attack. It's been around for a long time, and that's how it's, because it's an 8-digit PIN, and the way it authenticates is in 4-digit chunks. So if you think about it, 4 digits, that's really only around 11,000 combinations. And given the fact that our computers today can do billions of things a second, doesn't seem like it'd be too challenging to break that type of security. And I'll let Dan fill in why there's air quotes around that one. But yes.
He's right.
That's right. So it's been a known attack. So this seems like a utility that's going to kind of piggyback off of the weaknesses there.
We were making a joke. He said, there's patches for this. I'm like, there's patches for a lot of things. But did people install those patches?
And that right there is why you need some good security engineering and hardening techniques.
That's what we're talking about today. Reaver's going to help you discover whether or not you actually did the thing you should have been doing, which was patching your wireless systems. Specifically, they're using WPS, which is that whole lovely push button technology, easy peasy lemon squeezy. I've got access. It makes it to where even grandma could buy a wireless access point, plug it in, turn it on, hit a button, and she's connected. That's the idea. But remember, let's see if I can get my hands in the thing here. I got to kind of shrug like I'm Gilbert Gottfried. Right? You got easy, you've got secure, and a lot of times this is the way it works. If security's up here, easy way down here. It ain't too easy to work with. But if easy way up here, that security probably lacking. We kind of saw that here with WPS. Had great intentions, trying to help people get connected with that wireless goodness that we all know and love and take for granted. But it had a weakness. Reaver is going to help, like I said, with that. Now, I don't have a WPS wireless access point running around. I should probably get another one because I had one at one time. I could have swore I had one. Maybe it's being used. Who knows? So I was going to show you Reaver, but basically it's not that big of a deal. Let's jump into the computer. Let me show you where to get it. GitHub. Yep, good old Git. Jump over here. Look at that. There's what you want. There's that URL. Don't worry, as always, will be in the learner resources. But this is the GitHub page for this. Gives you a lovely overview that Reaver implements a brute force attack against Wi-Fi protected setup. Register pins. It's those pins that are just a little too weak for us. In order to recover the WPA2 passphrases as described in this document, go read that document. It's a good read. It'll help you out. So, really, meat and potatoes, that's what we want to look at. It has a couple of dependencies, so be aware of that if you're installing this. It does come installed in Kali Linux, so that's a win. Hopefully you have a version of that running around. If not, here's what you got to do to get it set up. And then here is the meat and potatoes, really the thing. The usage, which interface do we need to use? And you'll notice that this says the name of the monitor mode interface to use. We're going to get into that a little bit more heavily in just a few moments. But you're going to need things like channel IDs, ESS IDs. Let's see here if you got a session or you're going to execute a command, if you want to use the 5 gigahertz range, lots of great stuff. Like I said, it's a pretty straightforward tool, does a really good job of documentation, telling you what each one of these switches do. But at the end of the day, you're going to say, Reaver, this is the device, this is the channel it's on, go Reaver. And then Reaver's going to go, and it's going to say, trying, and do exactly what Wes was saying. Brute force those pin codes until it finds one that fits. And once it does, you'll be able to extract your WPA or WPA2 password information. And guess what you can do with that? Yeah, that's so a great, quick, easy tool to play around with. Highly recommend if you've got an extra access point laying around that has WPS, you want to give this a whirl. Go for it. Experience with the hands. Never hurt anybody. But for here, that's what we got with Reaver.
This next one coming up, Dan, one of the things I've always been a Windows guy,
Yeah.
and I've been journeying over the last year or so into Linux and learning, the beauty of Linux and a lot of the things that you can do. And in Windows, one of the limitations are driver support, right? And a lot of that functionality, if there's not a driver for it, well, unfortunately, you can't do it. So the next suite of utilities I absolutely love because I have used it before, and it unlocks a whole bunch of functionality, and that's something known as air cracking. Now, I said air cracking. I always say that. It's aircrack NG, and it's not just a single utility, right?
No, it's a suite of utilities. It has a bunch of, oddly enough, could get you in the weeds a little bit. There is an aircrack NG utility, and then there's the aircrack NG suite of utilities, of which aircrack NG is a part of. Right? I know, it's Inception, right? It's the Russian doll. There's something, it's just meant to confuse us, I think. I mean, as a developer, maybe I would have thought this could get confusing. I'll probably not want, anyway, I digress. Yes, aircrack NG, great suite of tools, is what most wireless cracking or security tools actually are leaning on under the hood. We saw, hey, you need to go into monitor mode. Guess what? We use aircrack NG's Airmon NG to do that. And if we look at my computer, I can show you, if I just AIR, I'm in Kali Linux, just type in AIR and hit tab a couple times, and you'll see the tools that go along with aircrack. Of course, there's aircrack NG right there. There's Airmon that I was just messing around, that I was explaining. There's Aero Dump, Air Replay, right? All great stuff. And some of these we're going to use, those three specifically, that we're going to work with to try to crack a WPA or WPA2. I don't remember. I think it was WPA2 that I set this. I got a wireless device sitting off camera. You can't see it. It's got a passphrase, right? That pre-shared key business. And it's WPA2 encrypted. Should be good to go, right? Well, maybe not. I can use aircrack, or the suite of tools in aircrack, to see how robust that security actually is. Because I can have the best encryption in the world, but if my passphrase or my password is not up to snuff, maybe it's found in a dictionary file. We would never do that though, but yeah, that happens a lot. Then I could use this suite of tools, plus another thing that we'll get to actually crack that passphrase or password. So with that being said, I say we get into actually performing some of this. What say you, Wes?
Absolutely. I love this tool.
I like how he thinks, right?
Or tools, I should say.
First thing we need to do is go into monitoring mode. Okay. Now, let me make sure you guys understand. See this little guy right here? This is my wireless utility, my wireless card. This is from Alpha Networks. It is the model number AWUS036NH. Any of these guys, it's about $50. You need something like that if you're a wireless adapter inside of your laptop. I'm running a 2018 MacBook Pro, and I still rely heavily on this thing. I would like to say I could plug that into my MacBook Pro and it would work, but I had some driver issues with that, and there are some fixes, but it was a big pain. So I just was like, hey, Kali Linux, pass it through. Everything worked perfectly right out of the gate. So there's drivers for monitoring and for that specific chipset. So just be aware of that. All right, back to the story. Airmon -ng, right? -- help. Fairly simple output. Airmon NG start, stop, check. What do you want to do? Start, stop, or check. What interface do you want to use? And what channel or frequency are you on? I'm going to pregame a little bit, kind of like use some of my pre-existing knowledge to help us move this along. So what I'm going to do is Airmon. Actually, first I need to do is an ifconfig, because I need to know what my wireless adapter is. Here in Kali, I am WLAN 0. Excellent. Need that info. So Airmon-ng, I want to start it. It's going to be WLAN 0, and I will say channel 6, because I know it's running on channel 6. Now, you will get this from time to time. You get a little error. If you see these IDs, you might need to go in here and do Airmon-ng check kill, and then the PID, or the ID that runs it, because they could interfere with what you're trying to do. So just be aware. It does give you the instructions to do that now. But now if I run another ifconfig, you'll notice this has changed to WLAN 0 mon instead of WLAN 0. From there, I can do aero dump dash ng, and I will say WLAN 0 mon. And I'm going to, again, put it on channel 6 because there are a lot of wireless devices around here, access points. I'm going to pare it down. All right, so I'm already seeing what I want to see. I'm gathering any access point that's running on channel 6. The one that I like is right here, called CySA. Like it was custom made for us. Weird, right? But good information that I'll need, like the BSS ID. That's very helpful. Please highlight it. There you go. And also the thing that is super helpful is down here. If I look for the BSS ID 0018, 0018, come on, show it for me. Maybe I need to, come on. Just looking for some traffic, looking for a station that is going to be associated with that ID because I'm going to need that information. And there it was. Oh, there it is. Excellent. No, quit running from me. There was one there and then it disappeared. It's a lot of times this is a game of catch it as it passes you kind of thing. I'm just waiting. Come on, you can do it. Where's that CySA? 001A is what I'm looking for. You'll notice that none of these have an association with it. This one does. What I've got my Android phone connected with it, and it's constantly pinging. So much traffic, though, that it is... Let's see if I can... There it is. All right, Control-C. Bang. Yay. I know, I kind of shrunk it down. I'll zoom in for us. Don't worry. There we go. So there is... There's the BSS ID I'm looking for, and there's an associated client. Okay, I need that info. Because with that info, I'm going to be able to drill in and actually try to capture the four-way handshake that occurs when a connection is made. And that information is going to lead me to the promised land of password cracking. So let's get that done. So let's do this. We need to do arrow dump -ng. And I'll make sure channel 6, right? And then I'm going to do -- BSSID. We'll do this. Let me increase the size again. There we go. Makes it a little easier for you good folks out there to see. And then I need that BSSID, which is right here. Copy that. And then Control-Shift-V, and I'll paste it in. And then if I do a -W, period, let's just say, where do you want to write this out to? I'm just going to write it right here to this directory. And then I'll do WLAN 0 mon, which is the interface that we're using. Bing. All right, things are going. Everything's looking good. Well, the problem that I'm seeing right now, I need some help, is right around this area up here. See if you can watch the cursor go crazy. I'm not seeing any four-way handshake. I need to see that say four-way handshake or something to that effect, I think it says. Did I write down? WPA handshake. That's what it says. WPA handshake. Once that is there, I'm good. I could play the waiting game. That's never a whole lot of fun because waiting sucks. And I'm not good at it. Honestly, I hate standing in lines, all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is perform a deauthentication attack. So what that will do is break the association with the station, with the access point. And if that, hey, reconnect feature is turned on, auto reconnect, it should establish communications and passing that four-way handshake, and I can reach out into the clear and grab that. So that's what we want. I'm going to split the screen. Bing. Make that visible for you good folks. All right. And what we need to do is do an air replay -ng. So this is going to do not 2 R's. 1 R. I always want to put 2 R's in there because I'm spelling it. Right? And then we need to do a -O, not O, -0. I'm foolish. They're right next to each other. It always gets me. What the -0 is it's going to tell us I want to do a deauthentication attack, and then I just need to tell it how many I want to do, which is 2. I'll just do 2. And then from there, I will do a -A, which is what's the BSS ID, which I have right here. Let me grab. There we go. Copy, and then paste that in. Next thing I need to do is a -C. This will be the clients. Hello. Come on, man. Work with me. Copy. Paste. Excellent. And then WLAN 0 mon, because that's where we're going. All right, there we go. Sending the beaconing frame. It did the thing. And now, again, we're just kind of playing the waiting game as the device gets disconnected, attempts to make a connection, the access point reaches back out. Once they get happy with each other and all that's said and done, we should eventually see right up here, we'll get that handshake. So we're just basically playing that waiting game right now. It's not going to be nearly as long as it would be if I was just waiting for clients to connect. And you can also fire off another one. Never hurts to do it a couple of times, because the more that's happening, maybe I want to increase the amount of deauthentication that I put, maybe go to 4. But again, just waiting for that to occur. And we won't sit here and belabor the point. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, it should have that up there, and we'll be good to continue. All right, so we captured the handshake information. Let's take a look and see what that looks like right here on my screen. And now you can see WPA handshake right there. My mouse is acting crazy today. Work with me. It does not want to do that. Anyway, right there, top right-hand corner. Mice technology, it fails us whenever we need it the most. Interesting stuff. Now that we have that, we can quit this, Control-C. We'll now have a file that we're going to use. I'm going to exit out of here, and I'm going to clear this, because I'm not going to clear it. I'm just going to do that. Maybe I want to scroll back up to that information.
So let me see if I understand, what's going on here, Dan. You basically said, hey, let me step in the middle of that association request and grab that information, and now I'm going to put it in my pocket, and we're going to use it.
You are dead on the money.
Okay,
right
gotcha.
there.
Gotcha.
Hit the nose.
Yep.
That's what we're looking at. So now it has written that out. Remember, I had that -w period that was saying write the file to this directory. If I do an ls, funny thing it does, al, you got to look for hidden files. It saves it as a hidden file. And if we look up here, we should see, there they are. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So you see I've done this a couple of times, but this is the file I'm looking for today, which is the .-03.cap file. And, this is from previous attempts to make sure all this was going to go well. From there, I do like to rename that file into something a little more useful. So let's copy what was it? .-03, is that what it is? Yeah, .-03.cap to useful.cap right here. So now I should have a file called useful.cap. Awesome. Probably want to name it something more descriptive than that, but hey, I like having a good time. Now, I have to transform that cap file. I can't, because now that we have that information, we get to move into the cracking phase of this. Hashcat has the ability to do cracking, but there's also another tool called Hashcat, which has also the ability to crack WPA, and it's a really good tool. So I highly recommend using it, especially if you have some like wicked awesome GPU or something like that, because it will enable you to use your GPU for very fast cracking. So Hashcat's a great tool. And I'll just do hashcat --help and put it into less so that we can look and see. I'm going to look for, because this is the kind of things we're going to use. We need -m, we need -a, which says what hash type are we going to use and what attack mode are we going to use. And we'll get into that in just a second, but I need that hash type first. So I'm going to look for WPA. And here are the codes associated with WPA, because there's 4 of them. And I'll just start from the top and work my way down. All right. So, but first, I forgot. We gotta transform that file into a HCCAPX file. There's a utility called cap2hccapx, and that will help us do this. So let's quit out of here, and let's do it like this. You just do, where did I put this thing? Oh, it's in like user share /hashcat. I think it's part of hashcat /hashcat. Yeah, it's the utils. And this is cap2 hccap. Help me out here. Oh, it's in bin /cap2. There we go. And it is .bin. And then we give it the useful.cap. And then what we want to save it to, which will be useful.hccapx. Hit enter. And good. it was able to transform it. Now we're good to go. Now we can throw it into Hashcat. A little bit of the Hashcat, a little dash M. It was 2,500 if I'm not mistaken, not 25,000. We're going to do dash A of 3. 3 lets me know that I'm going to use a dictionary attack against this because brute forcing can take a while. And then it was useful.h, there we go. And then what password list I'm going to use. And I have one, root/documents. And it is common_passwords, I think I created. Yeah. And we fire off. It's a virtual machine, so I got to do --force. Invalid option. Oh, because it's not called hash. Control A. Man, if I could type, I'd rule the world. There we go. Generating bitmap tables, and it's going to crank through this. And you can see, here it goes. It's trying, initializing the device, and now crankety crank, trying this password, trying that password. Looks like we're done. Oh, look. Status correct. Guess is spring 2019 ! Wes, if you'd like to try to connect with that.
I am on it, sir.
He's
as
already-
you
he's
speak.
already going
I was
for
like,
it. He's like-
let's get into this.
Let me see if I
box.
can actually log into this thing.
2019, and let's see. And I bet you if you rerun that packet capture utility
I'll
now,
see
you
another-
might see
yeah,
a
yeah.
freaking SS, or you might see my MAC address on there now.
That's
I am
right.
in.
So there you
Absolutely.
go. Right, I was able to successfully crack that password. Wes was able to log in with it, and now we've assessed that spring 2019 ! With a capital S is not a robust enough of a solution for our security. It was found in a dictionary file. Right, so we got to be aware of these things. This is how you basically run through that action, understanding the output and how that works, and understanding all this that Hashcat is showing us, what AirMon was showing us, what Air Replay was showing us. That's the information we need to be familiar with for that CySA exam. It's a lot of moving parts with this. So if you want to build this, it's going to take you a minute, and it's going to be a lot, but it's a lot of fun. It's totally worth it. So I highly suggest it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there you go. There's a good wrap up, the good stopping point. We've got a lot more to come when it comes to the CySA Plus shows, but that's going to take you coming back and seeing us. And until then, remember to change, the password on your luggage when this guy's around. We'll see you then.
Thank you for watching IT Pro TV.